It's time for the Tiny Takeover! Man, try saying that 5 times fast. Time for the Tiny Takeover, 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 time for the Tiny Takeover. Yes, and with that, we've got a lot to do today, lots of little baby mobs to catch, so let's get into it. Now, I sure am glad I looked up how to actually make these, because I would have spent probably like hours searching new terrain, generating new chunks, trying to find where these things spawn, but I guess it kind of makes sense since they are golden. I just thought it was just the naming of it, but we've got our golden dandelions here. Interesting new block. It's quite an interesting color. I actually might use this a lot for decorating, but for today, we're going to be spending the time using it to capture a bunch of the baby mobs. Now, when I first heard about this update, I was really excited I could add more things in here to my museum, but the problem is, I don't really have a lot of space in here, and it's already kind of crowded as it is. I mean, I could probably shove in another cow into here, but I still have to get all of the different variants of the cows. That's going to be 3 different cows in here, same for all the other ones, and I don't think I really want to shove in the baby animals in here as well. So instead of putting them on display right now, we might eventually change that and upgrade our museum so it can actually fit them down there. Today, we're going to build a nice little farm for all the baby mobs to kind of chill out and hang. So first, we have to find the location. Now, in my hardcore world, I have lots of things planned out that I probably haven't shared with you guys yet. I've just forgotten to mention in an episode, but there's things like I got my industrial district back there, my museum, my village, my main base. I've got the one that's going to be here, this port village that's going to be in the far future when I eventually get into that. I've got my starter base, my terrain over there, even that small little barn that I'll eventually probably upgrade to make it look better. But I don't really have a plan for where this kind of thing is going to go for today's episode, but I think down there would probably work best, because down below me is going to be kind of a port village where it's going to be just houses for a bunch of villagers to kind of wander around. Not sure if it's going to be functional or anything, but I think keeping with the theme of how I've already got some animals down here in the form of the sniffers. I've even got one of these babies, so actually what we can probably try, let's see if this even works. Looks like it does, maybe. It's giving off the particles. Hopefully it only takes one, because these things are going to be a lot harder to get. I'm going to have to farm them a bit. Guess we've had an Enderman in here. Gotta fix that. But it looks like we've already got our first baby animal. We'll bring him out eventually when we get into building the farm down here. But before we get to actually doing some building, we'll leave that for the later half of this episode. We're going to actually go and gather a bunch of the baby mobs to start with. We've already got the sniffer, so that's 1 down. I'm going to see how many we can actually get, because there's probably some I probably can't collect in the overworld, like all the nether mobs that would eventually turn back into overworld mobs. But I think we can get quite a few chopped away in today's episode. So let's get started with some of the basic ones. Alright, to start off, we're pretty close. We've got a bunch of sheep, it seems, up here. So we're going to have to grab, I guess I got a little bit of wheat in here. And I guess we could probably just drag these guys down. We could probably also get the baby as well. So let's craft up a baby, or I guess breed up a baby. Ooh, and it's the new texture model for them. So if we toss that in, we can just drag this guy down slowly and carefully and drag him over to an area over here. I guess I'll have to build up some fences. Are there any in here? No, I didn't use any fences to build that. So we're going to have to chop down one of these azalea trees in order to have enough wood for a fence. Or is that a fence? No, that's wood. Ooh. Okay, let's grab him over here and get them all. Oh, and we have some fences. So we can just toss him here. And we've got 2 mobs now. Let's go see if we can grab up the other couple from here. I saw a chicken and some cows. Numero 2. That's 2 down. For the chicken, it might be easier to actually grab from in here. I don't think I have any eggs, but there might be a couple hidden in one of these. No, okay, so we might have to turn off all the redstone back here, because we got a couple of baby chicks in here. Actually, we could have just grabbed these guys out. Come on out, little guy. Let's see if we can grab one. Pull them out. There we go. And we can replace this. I mean, we got a lot of backup in here. Maybe toss all this on the floor so we can keep getting this. This is from the first base. It's been a long time since I've been down here, but we've got our baby chicken. And while we're here, we have a couple of dogs that I've left in here for a while. Let's see if we can get these guys going. And maybe we can grab a little puppy. There we go, and it's all bred, or all tamed up. Oh, that's adorable. Come back here. Let me see you. That is adorable. Alright, I'm kind of running out of leads. I mean, I could craft up more, but I am very short on string. It's one thing I don't have. I should get a string farm soon. But enough of that. Let us build a small little enclosure, kind of like this, but out here, just to enclose these guys so I don't have to keep tying them to this pole. Now, quickly back into the museum, we can actually get a couple of goats because we have a couple on display. So we're going to steal their baby if we can get them. All right, let's grab. Okay, this is going to be a little difficult. Oh, yeah, that's what I was worried about. All right, so we want to probably figure out how to... Okay, there we go. Maybe that's work. Drag him out. Maybe just put him here, and then we're going to have to... Oh, wow, okay, these guys are running away. Guess they don't like being put onto display. Will they come in nicely? Close. Okay, let's do the last little bit. All right, so that's 2 more. We're gonna have to break the leads. And we can also do, I guess, the mule, because we need both a donkey and a horse, and we can get a baby mule. I've got an adult one here, and then I'm gonna have to find more donkeys and horses in order to get the baby versions, and I can't even ride them back because they'll be babies. But we've got... The heck? Did he jump all the way up there? Oh, wow, okay, this guy's got some hops. And we have a couple more we can maybe do in here. Well, we have a cat and an untamed cat, which is kind of difficult to get, so maybe we'll go to the village and see if we got any of that. We have a single fox, and we already have a dog. Don't know if we can get baby fox or wolves. That's something we'll have to test out. But we got one more, so that's another one down. Alright, we're over in my rocket factory, and I've gathered another pig and another cow. I think I'm going to get all the variants, just because, I mean, look how cute they are. Just look at them. So cute. And we actually somehow have trapped 2 foxes in here. I have no clue how, but we're going to have to be very sneaky. Thankfully, with Swift Sneak, we're a little bit quicker. So we give 1 to you. Looks like he's got something in his mouth. And now we just have to get this other one nearby. This one's a little bugged on that. Gotta time it. Alright. But they're too far away from each other, so maybe if I scare this one off. He seems to like it over here, so maybe if I scare this one over. He seems quite content with, what is that? Looks like a rabbit skin. Alright, I guess we're just gonna shove this guy over, or maybe... Yeah, we can just drag him over. Alright, there we go. We got these 2 together. I managed to somehow attach them with a lead, so those 2 will stick together and the baby will follow them, but we're gonna have to steal this baby away. I am sorry, but that is 3 more. If I can grab this guy, and then we'll go over and grab the Highland cow, and I'm gonna have to figure out where I'm gonna be able to get the other variants, as well as, I don't remember if they did the sheep for this, but that's 3 more passive. Alright, we just ran into our first problem. This little fox here just murdered the baby little, I guess, duck? No, it's a chicken, baby little chicken. So we're gonna have to do some separation. Thankfully, this tamed wolf isn't going after the sheep. If it was wild, it would. So we're gonna have to get... Oh, he has one of my leads, that's what he's holding. But he murdered the little baby chicken, so we're gonna have to start separating these guys out a little bit. Yeah, this guy's gonna have to stay on a lead because he has mad hops. But we're gonna have to do a little bit more of this. This is gonna be just something I'm gonna have to do very slowly, just exploring the world, gathering all these different mobs. But I think for the next part, we're gonna start actually building the area where these guys are gonna live. So we're gonna build on top of this kind of barn type thing we have going here. We're gonna expand into some fields, maybe some like chicken coops. I guess the chickens won't be too hard to get because I can just grab a bunch of eggs if I have any and throw them in, and that's good. It was just a bit of a waste of one of my golden dandelions, but as you can see, we've got plenty more gold and plenty of dandelions we can just grab from basically any patch in the world. So next, we're going to start doing some designing of a barn, farm, yard of any kind, and just basically this whole area I'm thinking is going to be kind of all about wildlife and animals. At least this chunk we can maybe do some bits on the edge relating to the port village eventually. But let's get into building this farm. I might have gone a little bit overboard building up 2 barns here. I still have another one I did design, but I might do that for another day. We got lots built. This mangrove, I need a mangrove farm bad. But now we have all the baby mobs kind of exploring around. They're not stuck in one area except for my little goat because he can jump like a million blocks in the air. So until I can figure out a way to keep him from jumping into the ocean or running away, he's gonna have to stay all tied up here. But for the rest of them, they can kind of wander around in the different couple barns we've got. I've also attached it to my sniffer barn, the original one here, and I'm thinking I'm gonna change the block palette to match the kind of default red barn aesthetic. Won't be too hard. I basically just change all the gray for the red, the linings for maybe the white, and then have the roof turned into the deep slate mixture. I did have to close this window in here because this guy kept running away, and I don't know how, but he seems to have grown up. So I think, last time I grabbed another one, bred up a second baby one, and I'm gonna have to do a lot of segregating of them because the first thing that happened when I had them in the little cage is the fox instantly killed the chicken. And that was a problem. So I'm probably gonna have to separate this into different sections where like the fox has to be in this section, and then maybe have a little area over here where I can put the chickens in like a little chicken coop or something, just to keep them all nice and safe. But for now, everything is all good and held together with these mud fences with a little bit of the spruce gates. I couldn't use the fence posts because they don't attach, but these attach nicely and give a little bit of difference instead of just a single boring bit of mud. Now there's plenty more to add in here, but that will be coming from the next episode because we need to get more of these baby mobs. And I don't want this episode going on too long, so now it's time for a rapid fire montage of collecting most of the rest of the baby mobs that we can actually get a hand on, because I don't think I'll be able to get all the water mobs in this area. But I do have a plan of adding a kind of underwater farm. Not sure how I'm going to do it. I guess I can actually use this to get out. Maybe I'll section off areas with a bunch of glass and then have underwater areas like with glass tunnels and stuff where I can kind of see them all whilst them still being in kind of a natural area without them just being in little glass boxes. And that will help keep everything looking a lot better and not kind of like how my museum is with all the prison cages. So, like I said, let's get to a little bit more gathering of the baby mobs. right, and that is a massive chunk of these guys all done. We've pretty much gotten everything except for a few, which I've put on signs over here. So from these guys here, these three, squid, glow squid, and dolphin, they're actually not spawnable by like breeding two mobs together. You have to get them naturally. So it'll just be a lot of flying over oceans, checking to see if one spawned, flying away, flying back. Kind of boring, and I don't really have anywhere to put them currently because I don't have the water place yet, so that'll be for maybe a future episode. Now, the ghast, and I don't remember what the other guy is. It's the meatball guy. He's the guy that walks on lava. Strider, maybe? That sounds kind of right. Those will go into the nether. Doesn't really fit in this area, plus I'm pretty sure the Strider doesn't like when there's no lava, and I don't want lava on this farm because everything's made of wood. So maybe when I do my nether bit in the whole museum, maybe I can have a little section for the babies to go as well, but that's not really that hard. I mean, the ghast, do I still have it? No, I just need the happy ghast dried thing from my bartering farm. That's easy, and then the meatball guy, he's something probably not too hard to get. Now, for the rest of this farm, I still need to get a cat. I have the ocelot, but I can get a cat from my village. I just haven't seen any spawn for such a long time, so it's kind of just a waiting game for those. Now, the polar bear, that one's a bit difficult because I don't really have it anywhere close to here. The closest, like, ice biome I think I have is actually at my end. So maybe sometime I'll set up another portal on the surface to get those guys in. The llama, I searched that biome forever. I probably should check which biome they spawn in. I would assume it'd be the hot ones. So I had like the mesa, the desert, badlands, all that, but couldn't find one, found all the rest of them. So maybe that's for another time. And then the trading llama. So far, I don't understand how to get them. On the wiki, it says that you have to remove the lead from the actual wandering trader, and that makes them not despawn. But I've done that before, and they've despawned inside my museum. So maybe if I quickly breed one up, the baby won't despawn. But that, again, is a waiting game. I gotta wait for one to spawn, and they don't spawn very often. So I think I've got everything I need for what I've got today. Now, there are a few missing, like I only have one donkey, but the thing is, I have another one in the museum. And I can then do the horse and the donkey to get the baby mule. So that's basically everything. So we're going to finish up everything in here. I'm thinking I'm going to need that last barn. So we'll probably stick it over here. And then there's going to be a lot of decorating. So maybe a couple like fields in this area. But it's going to have to kind of sneak its way in so that I still have a fence. So these guys can't escape because I have a feeling they'll jump off a cliff, drown in water, find some lava somehow that I missed. And I don't want to waste a lot of time. Now, I do have a couple more in here. I grabbed some turtles and some tadpoles from my museum, actually. And I've got these axolotls from such a long time ago. But these are all kind of water-based. So I'm thinking I'm going to include them in that area when I eventually create my aquarium of sorts out here. But I've got them, so I can cross them off the list. I just need to actually breed them up. So I'm going to consider them completed. That'll just be for a future episode when I do the water-based episode. Now, I haven't grabbed all the variants of the mobs that I want. For example, I only have 2 of the 3 chickens, if they're still up here. That's the hot biome one that you get from the warm eggs, and that's the regular one. I don't have the cold egg. I also don't have all the pigs or the cows. I only have some versions. It's hard to tell where these guys are. I guess over here, yeah, so I have 2 of the cows, only 1 of the pigs. We have the mushroom, but not the brown mushroom, so I need to strike these guys with lightning. That'll be something I have to figure out. I don't have a trident. So I'll need to get one of those with channeling to get those guys, and then I can get that version, get some more. There's just all those, but I'm kind of just doing completionist of getting as many as I can. There's also the different types of dogs you can get. There's probably a couple more that I've just not remembered, but that's for a future episode. We want to just get this whole thing ready so then we can slowly add to it. But now for the rest of today's episode, it's basically just a little bit of building and breeding these guys up and stealing all the babies for different areas. I got to make sure to separate them properly. Right now I've kind of snuck this fox over here because they can actually jump the fence. I did not know that. I had the rabbits over here. If you saw that in the time lapse, the fox jumped over the wall. So that was rough. I still think I still have 2 foxes left. I didn't want him to kill everything, so I did have to put one down. But that's just a problem, so I've kind of stuck these two guys in here. For some reason, one of them grew up again. So I don't know if maybe I fed them 2 of the flowers. I don't have any more on me. I'll have to go and harvest a bunch more. But we're going to leave that and just keep those guys tied up until we can keep things separated properly. So the rest of today's episode is going to be a nice little time lapse, finishing up the build, adding in any more detailing I want to do, and separating and keeping all these guys together. I think I'll keep some of the adults in here so all the babies don't feel too alone. It did feel a little bit cruel to steal all the babies away, so maybe I'll grab parents and just expand this thing massively, because I'm thinking this entire area, probably cut off around that area there, this entire thing can be the farm. So we can maybe expand out to here, have it all around here. I got to do more of the mossing to get rid of all this stone, but that is something I can just do casually. It's not a big deal. So we're going to get to that, and then that'll be today's episode. And let me know what other mobs I should try and capture, because there are all the other ones. I mean, you can get all the hostile mobs, like the baby zombies and stuff. That's much more rare because you can't get it yourself. It's like the dolphins and squids that you have to wait for them to naturally spawn. It's the same for like the, what's it called? The skeleton horse. That's also a very rare one. So maybe that'll be a achievement hunting type episode where I have to hunt for very rare things. But that's where we're going to leave it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more episodes coming soon. And please enjoy the rest of the building. Until next time.